Hello, everyone! Well, I'm back with this time another top 10 actor performance list, but this just isn't any ordinary actor. It's not just any ordinary list. This is Tim freaking Curry. I mean, one of the most incredible, charismatic, and amazing actors to ever grace voice work, live action work, singing, dancing, you name it, he's done it all. And I'm going to go over the top 10 craziest performances he's ever done. Okay, the top 10 curriest performances he has ever done, ever. This list is so hard to make because I could easily make a top 50 list out of his performances. The man is so talented. So here it is, my top 10 favorite Tim Curry performances of all time. Let's stop talking and let's hit it! Number 10 is quite smashing. Yes, Nigel Thornberry from the Wild Thornberrys is an incredible performance of his, and probably a lot of younger crowds' first introductions to Tim Curry. Maybe some in my generation, maybe not. I'm 31 years old as I'm recording this video, so I realize I'm a very old man. Anyhow, this character is amazing, and the fact that he recorded the entire show with Nickelodeon, I absolutely love it. It actually started off, Tim Curry's first performance, I think, in the Rugrats, I may be wrong, was actually in the Rugrats movie where he plays a piece of shit reporter named Rex Pester. And I guess he worked so well with the other characters or with the actors and etc., that the Klasky Kupo decided to hire him on full-time in the Wild Thornberrys. Nigel is crazy as hell. And his tagline is smashing, is just used everywhere. Hell, I know that Splatoon uses it all the time. In fact, it was a very powerful meme from 2016 to like 2019, so I know it is still out there everywhere. Nigel Thornberry left a massive impact, and Curry just plays him excellently. There is no other Nigel Thornberry. Hell, even in that shitty as hell The Rugrats Go Wild movie, he is still a treat to watch and enjoy. I love this freaking performance. And think about it, this is just number 10 on the list. We're just barely scratching the surface of awesome, and a character this popular as only number 10, you know shit is really going down.
Where was I? Dreadful darkness, hear my cry. Bring back one who cannot die.
Oh yeah, number 9 is Ben Ravencroft from Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. And this one is a very fun one. Honestly, this might be when I was actually noticing that voice actors take on various parts when I was younger. And this is quite possibly one of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies of all time in general. But yeah, basically he plays Ben Ravencroft, who starts out as a quote good guy, but he ends up being the, quote, twist villain. What do you know? Warner Brothers was doing the twist villain thing before, Disney was. I mean, this came out, I believe, before Toy Story 2. I may be wrong. However, when he is just Ben Ravencroft, the nice guy, it's just a regular average performance. But as Ben starts to become more revealed as the twist villain and becomes completely, utterly freaking unhinged, yeah, this is Curry at one of his best and one of his most incredible performances. Even though this guy kind of looks like Xanatos from Gargoyles, which I kind of think Curry should have played Xanatos from... No, wouldn't have worked. Anyhow, yeah, this is great. Ben is a very threatening villain. I mean, he's a warlock. Of course Tim Curry would play a fucking warlock. And he just basically manipulates the gang into finding the spell book that he's been looking for so he could summon his witch ancestor back from the grave as a ghost. It's just amazing. And his fate is left completely messed up. It's actually pretty sad how this character goes out. But what can I say? I love this performance. And honestly, this was like one of the best Scooby-Doo villains ever. Even though on the VHS copy, they actually spoil it when it shows scenes from it beforehand. When they're like doing a toy commercial or the trailer, they show the scenes that he's the bad guy, which is kind of messed up, man. Anyhow, a great performance. I love it. One of Curry's best.
Your wife.
Now we're into live action territory again. And I promise you guys this much, we're not done with voice work here, okay? The professor from Scary Movie 2 is just basically Liam Neeson's character from, oh shit, that shitty remake horror movie. I don't even remember. It sucked really bad. And he is basically just playing a slimy, grimy version of that character from that movie. But, you know, turned to 11 or 12 in Curry standards. And when you turn it that high, it can be really messed up. But basically his premise, instead of wanting to put them all asleep, he just wants to get laid. That's all he's after. He wants to score with Cindy and gets laid. And in the process, I think Ray from the Scary Movie films, who is just like my favorite Scary Movie character, by the way, Ray is awesome, wants to fuck him, and it just gets into an entirely weird thing going on. And then when it's revealed that he's the villain, but not really, we're just all mixed up. I don't know. Scary Movie 2, I absolutely love it because I think, honestly, it's my favorite out of the Scary Movie franchise because they actually get some really good actors as the villains here. Like, friggin' Chris Elliott is in this, and he's just great. Tim Curry always is a plus. And some of the set designs and stuff is just fantastic. I mean, yeah, this one is a lot better than the first one. And you can tell they got more of a budget because of how well the first one went. I mean, there is a giant weed plant that smokes a dude. What the hell? But yeah, this performance is basically just Tim Curry wanting to get laid. And that's about it. I mean, there's not much to this character, but when you put with Curry standards on here, the creepiness factor just goes up here, and it's just fantastic. I think that if they had anyone else play this character, it would have just came off weird or unsettling. But Curry is able to make a very unsettling, unlikable character very likable. In fact, Liam Neeson basically played this character in that movie remake that I can't remember the name of. And it did become very unlikable and creepy. So, yeah. Tim Curry is able to outact Liam Neeson. So, take that, Ra's al Ghul.
Well, look at us, Jim. We're a festival of conviviality.
Okay, where would we be without Tim Curry's epic performance and many 90s kids' introduction to the Curry, to the delicious Curry as Long John Silver from Muppet's Treasure Island. In fact, this is many of our Treasure Island introductions that we get. In fact, it was probably the very first Treasure Island movie that I remember. In fact, I can still remember the commercials to this and the toys to it. The man is out acting puppets. Basically, he plays a very over-the-top Long John Silver, and this is the best Long John Silver we've ever got. And don't worry, this is not going to be the very last pirate performance either on this list. He goes over the top, and it is just amazing. I love this performance. If he's more interesting than, say, the puppets on set and Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and everyone else, you know they got the right guy for this. I mean, you could have put strings on the guy and we would have thought he was just a living Muppet himself. What is a Muppet? Well, it's not a mop or a puppet in short terms. I don't know. Anyhow, Curry is just fantastically over the top. They basically just told him to go crazy, and I think that's exactly what he did. And this character is no exception. Amazing, over the top, and we wouldn't be anywhere without his epic performance of singing. It's not a Tim Curry performance without him at least getting to sing. And yes, the other contenders didn't sing as much, but this guy gets a full-scale villain song, and I'm very happy with it. Even if it's just a few notes, I am happy to hear Tim Curry's angelic voice singing. As you guys can tell, I'm a big Tim Curry fan, and my name's Tim, so there you go. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, Tim Curry as a villain, Tim Curry singing, Tim Curry over the top, check. Rooster from Annie, boom, amazing. What can I say when he plays the main villain and he gets a full-scale villain song with two other actors, with Bernadette Peters and Carol Burnett? I mean, he's out acting them. And this was a lot of people's introduction to Tim Curry, too. This performance isn't so much over the top. He is playing a villain in this yet again, but he gives so much disgusting characters, or characters that anyone would find hideously bad, so much charm in his way, and I don't know what it is. Basically, Rooster is the landlady's or the adoptive lady's brother-in-law. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time since I've watched Annie, everyone. And he wants to take Annie and adopt her to get the money from Daddy Warbucks so they could live on, well, Easy Street. I can't sing, I'm sorry. I'm not that kind of Tim. And how does he play this role? Even though he doesn't have as much screen time as I would like him to have, he kicks so much ass in this. I mean, there is just so much you could do with a character, and this is so many people's introduction to him that it's honestly unbelievable. And in fact, when I rewatched Annie all those years later as an adult, I was like, holy shit, they got Tim Curry? I forgot he was even in this. And yes, he is the best part of the movie, and he has a better singing voice than Bernadette Peters and Carol Burnett, so you know he was really well casted in this. So on the Tim Curry list, villain, singing, over the top, bing.
You are a liar, dissembler, and prevaricator of the first magnitude.
I told you this would not be his very last performance of a voice or a pirate on here. Hook from Fox's Peter Pan Adventures and the Pirates. That's a really weird title. Anyhow, as Hook, he is so excellent. This is his full-on going villain scale, using his voice chops to work. He plays Captain Hook, and honestly, I think he's an even better Captain Hook than Hans Conrad or Dustin Hoffman. And that's saying a lot. Those guys are my personal favorite renditions of Hook. Hell, he even outdoes Christopher Walken. They give this version of Hook so much depth, having him quote Shakespeare, and then being kind of bumbling and comedic at the time, but still being able to be a threatening villain in the same run. I used to watch this back when it aired on Fox, and there is no physical media release of it, or sadly no streaming release of it either, which is very sad. So many kids are getting to miss this epic TV show, and it was canceled sadly very early on. However, this is the best rendition of Captain Hook with the best actor you could ever pick to possibly play him. A Shakespearean tragedy with a voice that just fits him. There is so many layers to this version of Captain Hook. Think about it, the Peter Pan version was, well, goofy, foppish, and over the top. Dustin Hoffman was able to capture a good balance of being over the top, but still, he does feel a little forced at times. But honestly, I really love Hoffman. And the less I say about Christopher Walken's version, the better. Tim Curry's version is just able to give so much dimensions to a character. It's hard to believe that just a simple voice performance can do that, but it did. And it is worthy of the top 5 spots. So let's move on to number 4.
It was a mercy killing. He had a certain naive charm, but no muscle.
Okay, well, we have number 4. And of course, number 4 is Dr. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Okay, this is referenced by so many people, and so many people place it as their number 1 favorite performance from him. But for me, there are 3 more above it, and yeah, you'll see why in a minute. This performance is just epic. It is so many people's introduction to Tim Curry. When you say Tim Curry, you automatically, your brain, for people who are very cultured, will automatically think of this character, and they should be able to. This is Curry as a villain, as seductive, and you get to hear his angelic singing voice through nearly the entire movie. Sweet Transvestite is one of those songs that is just so well done. This movie pushed so many boundaries, and you would think that people would hate it because this came out at a time where, LGBTQ community was mistreated and mishandled. But if you put the movie or the performance in the right type of hands with the right type of people, you'll see that it is a very celebrated movie, and so many people absolutely love this film, including me. I love this movie. By far, one of my favorite musicals of all time. And Tim Curry is the crowning achievement. We're introduced to so much here. His voice is honestly amazing. And not only him, but we also get the late but great Meatloaf here. And we get so many memorable performances out of this film. And it is honestly one of the most celebrated films in history. When, like I said, when people say Tim Curry, they automatically say Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I can see why. But for me, it's at number 4 for some reasons. The movie has some slow parts to it. Oh, none with Tim Curry at all. The performance is excellent. But a lot of the times it feels slow, and it feels kind of forced at times. But for the time, the year this came out, and how amazing it really is, it is an excellent performance. And honestly, the top 5 of these is Tim Curry at his absolute best.
Wasn't no color TV till I fixed it. Now it's a color TV.
Number 3 is kind of a cheat, but I put it at 3 for a reason. Ma, Pa, and Winona Brackett from the Tales from the Crypt episode Death of Some Salesman. This is just Tim Curry at possibly his craziest. We haven't got to number 1 yet. But he portrays 3 people in this movie. At a time this came out, Eddie Murphy would have done something like this. It's very, very similar, and I believe that Eddie Murphy was asked to do these characters, but I'm so glad they went with Tim Curry. This is my favorite episode of Tales from the Crypt, and it shows how versatile Curry can be. As Pa, he's very loud, bombacious, and he really hates fucking salesmen. As Ma, he's timid and sweet and feels sorry for the salesman, but stern at the same time. As Winona, well, it's a very beautiful woman performance. All I'm gonna say. It's amazing on how this role goes, and I don't really want to get into detail. This is an episode people really need to freaking watch. This is Curry being able to act off himself and another actor there. The actor that plays the salesman does a fantastic job. But damn, Curry is basically spending 80% of this episode working off himself and going full-fledged over the top. I mean, I think my favorite is actually Ma Brackett, how he's able to capture that real sweet and innocent feel that she has, but can be stern at the same time. These are three separate characters, and he's able to put his versatile performance acting into this. This shows how amazing Curry can be. God, if they would have made a show, a full-fledged show about this family that went around duping salesmen, oh God, I would watch the shit out of that. Now, my number 2 one is going to be a little strange, but when you see the reasons why I put it as number 2, maybe you'll understand it a little more.
You gotta help me!
What's the matter? Store wouldn't stolen credit card?
Well, we have it. Number 2 is Mr. Hector from Home Alone 2. And why such a performance in a subpar sequel compared to the first movie? Because Tim Curry made this movie. I watch it every December. Same with Batman Returns. Every December, I pop it in and I have to watch it. It is such an epic performance. And I love this performance so much that I actually had Tim Curry sign a picture of Mr. Hector for me. And yes, I have that photo on my wall in my bedroom. So don't judge me. I love his versatile acting with Kevin in this, Macaulay Culkin. It's great. And the cast that is in the hotel staff are fantastic too. We get Rob Schneider here, and making Rob Schneider enjoyably likable is just so much fun. What I think the route this movie should have gone, because in essence, Tim Curry is only in half of this movie, which hurts it very badly. But what I think this film should have done was focus on the hotel staff. That is exactly what should have happened. Kevin outsmarting the hotel staff, and then him finding ways to dupe out Mr. Hector several times over. I would have absolutely loved it. The scenes that, go on throughout this movie is just incredible. It's my favorite Home Alone movie. Yeah, I am one of the minority people that like this more than the first movie. And Tim Curry is probably the reason why. I watch this more than I do the first movie. Hell, I had this on VHS as a kid and I ran it out. This is probably my actual introduction to Tim Curry. Because I used to watch Christmas movies all the time with my brother. And he and I were huge Home Alone fans. Me, I am probably the biggest fan of Home Alone 2. I love it so much. And I really do think this is one of Tim Curry's best performances. And I honestly wish that this would have got its own spin-off where we could have watched Curry and Macaulay Culkin and Rob Schneider and the other actors kind of do their own thing. And I would have loved to see a spin-off of the Hotel Plaza. Hell, throw Trumpster in there for all I care. Just, he could point people to the lobby. That's what he's best at now, right? Huh? I'm just kidding. But still, these characters are so vibrant and so full of color. And honestly, Tim Curry just brought a lot. If they would have gotten anyone else to play this role, it would have been nowhere near as memorable. And also, the movie does have a lot of beautiful atmosphere in New York. Having Christmas in New York is probably one of the most beautiful things ever. And I'm a big Christmas guy here. I get the tree and I do everything Christmas. I wear Christmas sweaters, which I do wear a Batman Returns shirt in December. I have 3 of them. So I'm a big Christmas guy and I get so excited when the Christmas time comes that I even decorate in November. This movie always gets me excited to watch it every year, especially Curry's performance, because it is just so damn good. I love the scenes that even do callbacks to the first movie. It does it better than before. So all I've got to say is this is worthy of being number 2 to me. Remember, this is my opinion. I'm not some big, massive critic. I'm just some dumb shitter on YouTube that does a video every so often, once a month or once every couple months. But this one, to me, is worthy of being number 2 on the list. But I think everyone can honestly agree with me about number 1.
Kiss me, fat boy!
I have a lot to say about Pennywise the Dancing Clown. And you know how I've said in the videos prior that if you get anyone else to play the role, it would not be anywhere near as good? Well, the remake actually did prove that. Not that I have anything against Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, he was good. But like I said, Tim Curry was able to take a performance and add so much personality to it. And not only that, he made clowns scary for so many people. I didn't even know that this was Tim Curry until I rewatched the movie when I turned 16. My cousin and I binged watched it a bunch, and honestly, I could not believe that this was Tim Curry. It's just honestly amazing how well he did with this performance, going over the top. And he frightened a bunch of 90s kids and millennials with the fear of clowns. Think about that. So many people fear clowns because of this movie. And all in all, it is a dumb movie. But is it a bad performance? Definitely not. So much freaking personality was added into this. You can see the effects they went into. And Tim Curry looked like he was having a ball here. A lot of people say that Hocus Pocus is their mini Halloween guilty pleasure. Well, it from the 1990 film is mine. It is just so damn good. Curry's performance goes from over the top to, at times, it could be kind of intimidating. The drain scene was my introduction to the scary clown thing, and my brother showed it to me when I was about 7 or 6 years old, and I was scared of this movie for at least a good 5 to 10 years until I rewatched it and realized how silly it was. Curry made a average Stephen King movie, which could have been a disaster, fun and enjoyable. Now, I will say part 1 is a much better film than part 2. Part 2, Tim Curry actually saves part 2 from being boring. The kid actors all do a great job, and they mesh well with Curry. I love how he just enjoys taunting the kids. His over-the-top antics are just fan-freaking-tastic. I could go on and on about the detail in this movie. I love Seth Green in this, for God's sake. This is easily one of the greatest Stephen King adaptations done, and they do it clean. It didn't need to be riddled down with a bunch of foul language and nudity like the other movie did. And if I have to pick my favorite Pennywise, it's gonna be Tim Curry. Look at the design of this character. This is the clown I would believe that lured children to him. This is the clown that would make kids want to walk up to you. What makes the 2017 and 19 version so unbelievable and takes you out of the reality is the fact that the clown looks scary and then it defeats the purpose. Curry based his performance on serial killer John Wayne Gacy, who was known as the killer clown back in the day. And he used that. He portrayed a drunken clown at kids' parties, but when he needed to, he could be threatening and intimidating. Some of my favorite scenes are just him making fun of the children and then picking on the adults later on. He just does such a great job at this, and it is him at 110%. I never was truly afraid of clowns, but I could see why so many people were. And this movie, honestly, is his best performance and most memorable. It scared so many millennials and 90s kids that you can't help but love it. And to me, yeah, it is going to be number one on the list for as long as I can think. And that does it for this top 10 Curry list. And honestly, that's it. Did I miss some videos? Did I miss some characters? Yeah, I did. I know I did. There's at least 20 to 30 I could have named off more to add to this list. So tell me in the comments what you think. And honestly, when I feel like posting again, I'll see you guys in the next video. Always remember, I'm listening, and have a happy Halloween this year.
And remember, they all float, Georgie. And you will too.